On November the 20th, 2025, a woman living in Indonesia captured something absolutely terrifying on her home security system. Footage so disturbing it left her shaking and fearing for the safety of her children. Her eldest son was stretched out on the bed, casually scrolling through games on her phone, while his younger sister sat on the floor in front of the TV. That's when the camera recorded something nobody could have anticipated. Pay very close attention to every detail here. The little girl
Astagfirullahaladzim. Ayah, demi Allah, kayak ada yang nyeret Jena. Demi Allah, udah bekerja. Demi Allah. Demi Allah, kayak ada yang nyeret Jena. Bener-bener astagfirullahaladzim. Nggak bilang jelas, nenek di depan. Kamu mau ke dalam ya? Masih. Masih ada nenek. Demi Allah, kayak ada yang nyeret, sumpah demi Allah. Bukan dia pergi. Abang Afli. Siapa lagi? Kita enggak?
is quietly watching television when, without any warning, it looks as though an invisible force seizes her by the legs and wrenches her backward, dragging her across the floor. Within moments, she's hauled completely underneath the bed. You can see her fighting back, pushing forward, trying desperately to resist whatever has hold of her. But the force is overwhelming, and she starts screaming in terror as she vanishes beneath it. When the grandmother comes rushing into the room, she attempts to pull the child out, but even she describes feeling something pushing back, as though an unseen presence was actively holding the little girl in place. Eventually, the mother enters, lifts the entire bed off the floor, and finds her daughter pressed hard against the wall at the far end. Since then, the child refuses to go anywhere near a bed, and her mother is beside herself with worry. So what exactly was it? A ghost? A spirit? Something demonic? Drop your thoughts in the comments.
Ayah, demi Allah, kayak ada yang nyeret Jena. Demi Allah, udah bekerja. Demi Allah. Demi Allah, kayak ada yang nyeret Jena. Bener-bener astagfirullahaladzim. Nggak bilang jelas, nenek di depan.
In this eerie home security recording, something deeply unsettling begins to unfold. A shadowy form gradually materializes near a mailbox at the end of a driveway. Initially, many viewers wrote it off as some kid goofing around, but the more you study it, the more something feels deeply off. Within the darkness, what appears to be a non-human face slowly comes into focus, its gaze locked directly on the lens. The figure never quite crosses into the light. Nobody can say for certain who or what was lurking out there that night, and with no credible source to verify it, whether this footage is even real remains an open question. Bob Gimlin posted this footage to his YouTube channel under the title, "My Paranormal Evidence, Some of the Best I've Ever Seen." In the description, he explains that he worked as a night manager at a resort, and part of his job involved walking through the spa a few times each evening. He describes what you're about to see as, quote, ghost phenomena, recorded on the night of October 22nd, 2016. During one of his late-night rounds through the spa, he'd picked up a brand new iPhone earlier that same day and was eager to try out the camera as he made his way through the building. He snapped photos at random as he walked. By the end of his shift, he had taken a total of 118 pictures that night. When he went back through them afterward though, something unusual caught his eye in a number of the shots. See for yourself what his camera picked up. There, reflected in the glass of the window.
I remember when I noticed the figures in the frames, but I know it wasn't the night I took them. It must have been in the following days, which brings us to our first apparition. So first I look down this long, creepy hallway. Then I turn to go into one of the service rooms, have a look about for whatever reason. And then I get fixated on this window at the end of the hall. I take 3 photos of the window. And then one at the floor. The baseboard, maybe. And I must have walked away. I'm looking at the window from a distance, but I'm heading back to it. And then here is the first of several in this sequence that seem to depict something else, to the right of the flash. And if you're not convinced, you can see it better on the live capture, and I'll replay it. Again, I didn't even notice the figure in this sequence until I started working on this video. This was not the subject of this video. I haven't even gotten to the good part yet. And it's easy to think at first that this silhouette is just me, but it's not, because I'm holding the phone in front of my face, and you can even make out that there's no arm between where the figure is and the flash. Just to be clear, I'm holding the phone to my face on the left. To prove that the silhouette on the right isn't me, look at this photo from earlier, from a few photos ago. See, no figure. I'm the only silhouette in the picture, with the flash in front of my face. And then about 10 pictures later, in the same spot, I'm not the only figure in frame.
Is what appears to be a dark, shadowy figure standing right beside him. Bob Gimlin is convinced that what he documented is genuine paranormal activity, and plenty of viewers in the comments section seem to share that belief. But the question is, what do you think? Did Bob actually record real evidence of the paranormal that night? Drop your thoughts below. A woman from Alberta, Canada, who goes by the TikTok handle Ranana0007, runs a completely ordinary account, mostly travel content and everyday vlogs, with absolutely no history of paranormal posts. She works nights as an on-site security guard at a facility somewhere in Alberta. During one of her routine patrols, she spotted something so deeply unsettling out in the distance that she yanked out her phone and started filming on the spot.
8 p.m. to 8 a.m. and we see something coming at us at midnight.
How is it? Raylan!
On first look, it could easily pass for a trespasser wandering through the grass, but pay closer attention and something is immediately off. The way it moves is all wrong, a fluid, seamless glide that bears no resemblance to a natural human gait. What's even more chilling is that when the footage is enhanced and brightened, the humanoid figure appears to have no face and no visible skin whatsoever. Its entire body seems to be blanketed in dense, coarse fur. Shaken but unwilling to let it go, she made the decision to head back to the same location on a separate night to dig deeper. While surveying the area from inside her car, she managed to catch the very same creature on camera again, only this time, it noticed her too. The dread in this second clip is impossible to miss.
By the same gate, seen something, and tried to back into a field we seen behind us. And yes, we are chickens.
The faceless figure is no longer drifting aimlessly along the edge of the property. Its full attention is now fixed directly on them. Sitting there in the vehicle, they watch as the creature begins closing the distance with slow, purposeful strides. Overwhelmed with panic, they slam the car into reverse, but the entity keeps coming, pressing forward through the headlights and matching every foot of ground. They give up. Could this security guard have accidentally wandered straight into something's territory? This footage comes from a YouTuber by the name of Terrell Latenti, who posted a video back in March 2022, capturing himself wandering alone through what looks like an abandoned hospital in the dead of night. The corridors are dark, hushed, and deeply eerie from the very start. But at roughly the 1 minute 14-second mark, something deeply unsettling enters the frame. See for yourself. As the camera sweeps quickly past an open doorway, a small figure, one that bears a striking resemblance to a child, appears to be standing just inside. The moment lasts only a split second, and Terrell gives no indication he noticed anything while he was recording. When the footage is played back in slow motion, the shape could potentially be written off as motion blur, a trick of shadows, or a visual distortion caused by the rapid camera movement. At regular speed, though, it looks unmistakably like a child silently watching from the threshold. So what's your take on what that actually was? On September 9th, 2024, a young woman living by herself had a deeply unsettling experience while filming a video of her singing to send to her mom. She hears what sounds like knocking at her door and picks up her camera to investigate. Here's what her footage revealed. As she moves toward the door,
¿Quién? ¿Quién anda ahí?
a dark and disturbing hand becomes visible through the glass panel at the top. But the moment she swings it open and checks the rooftop, not a single person is there. Then, out of nowhere, a piece of clothing rises off the ground and drifts away into the air. She says that ever since she opened that door, whatever was on the other side has been coming back more and more frequently, and strange occurrences have been taking place throughout her home. One night, while she's lying in bed trying to fall asleep, she hears it again. That same unnerving hand reappears, but just as before,
Grabo este video porque están tocando constantemente la puerta. Y están pasando cosas que no son normales. ¿Qué? ¿Quién? Nadie.
the second she opens the door, there's nobody to be found. This time, however, as she steps back inside, something yanks the covers right off her bed. She searches every corner of the room, but turns up nothing. The following night it happens once more, except this time she makes the decision to stay put and pretend the door doesn't exist, just to see what happens. An object slides across the table entirely on its own, and that chilling hand looms over the door once again. Shaken by how often these incidents are occurring, she packs up her belongings and heads to her mother's house for a week. As of now, she has yet to go back. But what exactly is this thing? Could there be something truly sinister behind it all? Or is this nothing more than an elaborate setup? That's for you to judge. There's a TikTok creator who works one of the darkest jobs you can imagine. He's a primary cleanup officer who responds to crime scenes after the police have cleared out, dealing with the aftermath of tragic deaths. His footage gives an unfiltered look at the grim reality left behind once investigators pack up and leave. But during one particular walkthrough of a private residence, his camera picked up something that stopped a lot of people cold. Everything appeared completely routine.
Friend here with Ben Davis Restoration. We got a call about an unintended death. Let's see what's going on in here today. Signs of a pit. Dog bed. You know, this house right here is cleaner than a lot of these houses that we walk into. Kitty litter box. Still no sign of no cat. Ooh. Oh. What in the world? Oh my. Ooh. I don't know about that. Okay, well, this is going to be a job.
As he moved through the house, until he got to the bedroom. Right before he stepped through the doorway, an unexplained, disembodied voice was recorded on his camera. It seemed to be whispering something directed toward the floor. Just moments after that, he walked into the room and was confronted with the horrific evidence of a crime scene staining the ground beneath him. Out of consideration for you, I've gone ahead and blurred the worst of it. And believe me, you're better off not seeing the unedited version. Here's the part that really gets under your skin though. The man holding the camera never heard that voice in the moment, which raises a deeply unsettling question. Could that have been the voice of the person who lost their life in that very room, drawing attention to the exact spot where it all ended? This footage was posted to the account shown on your screen, a channel run by someone named Rodriguez, who has uploaded just 2 videos to date. On a whim, Rodriguez and a group of friends headed out to visit the real-world filming location of the iconic Hawkins lab. But what was meant to be a casual outing took a deeply unsettling turn when their camera captured something none of them could have anticipated. The door
Told you. You thought it was crazy.
There's
It's
no
moving.
one
I can see.
either.
It's closing.
It completely shut. That guy rolling up the window. It completely shut. The car is started.
Sorry, did you see it? She didn't.
God.
Oh my god.
Look,
Oh my
it's
god.
opening,
Look, it's opening again. It's
Wait,
opening
get
again.
on video. Get on video.
Somebody record this.
I am.
This is paranormal experience.
What the fuck? There's no wind either. Like you can look at the trees right now. They're not moving at all.
Completely abandoned. No wind. There's nothing in there.
Like you can look at the plants, the tree, nothing is blowing. It's
Alright.
just opening.
There's no explanation for that. It's also so irregular that it can't be like.
It's opening.
automatic.
It's opening. It's opening. No, fuck that.
No, it's opening fast and wide.
Okay.
Why?
Okay.
Oh my
That's the
God.
widest it's opened.
That fast too.
What is that?
It's opening and closing.
You're gonna need to send me that
You're
video.
filming this? Okay, thank God.
Yeah. That's crazy.
I need to know the history of this place.
Is that a person?
Yeah, we're gonna save ourselves. Don't worry.
What is that?
What is what?
Do you see that? Look at my
there's
phone.
definitely something moving inside. No, I see it.
What is that?
I see
Is
it.
that a person?
Is that a person?
Why does that looks like a person? I'm looking at JC's phone. It looks like a fucking
it looks
person
like a
in there.
person.
I'm looking at his phone. It's literally a figure.
No, I see
You're
it.
recording
I
that,
see
right?
it. I see it.
Okay, so you could play back and show you guys.
Oh shit. Okay. Well. Okay. I see it. It's different. Please put the window up. I see it. It's a dark
We're
figure.
driving.
It's a dark figure. It's a
We're
dark figure.
driving.
It's a dark figure.
We're
I
driving
don't like
away.
that.
Ooh, brakes are on.
Please. I see.
repeatedly swings open and shut with no apparent cause. No breeze, no draft, nothing that could reasonably account for the motion. And that's only the beginning of what makes this so disturbing. When they take a closer look, they notice a figure standing inside the structure, completely still, not making a sound, just staring back at them. Needless to say, they wasted no time getting out of there. So what's your take? Was this all just a strange coincidence? Or is there something genuinely eerie lurking at this location? Drop your thoughts in the comments below. In this next video, A man who had just recently moved into an apartment somewhere in France was planning to film a quick tour to share with his friends when he ended up having a deeply unsettling run-in with his neighbor instead.
Là où j'habite. J'ai emménagé à... Oh,
Je l'avais pas vu.
Pardon, je suis désolé. Je suis votre nouveau voisin. J'ai emménagé avant-hier. Du coup, bah, enchanté.
Tu sens ce malaise?
Ça va, monsieur? Monsieur? Ça va?
Il ne dit rien.
Bah... Si vous avez besoin de quoi que ce soit... vous me dites, hein, vous frappez, pas de soucis. Hein.
Regarde les doigts. Ça veut dire un truc?
Ça va, monsieur? Bon. Bah, bonne journée, du coup.
Upon arriving home, he spots his neighbor standing right at the door and tries to greet him, but the man gives absolutely no response, just a strange, jerky movement of his hand. After looking into the building's history, he found out that the previous occupant had died in the unit, and he's now starting to wonder if his neighbor might not be entirely well. Then, on a separate night coming home, he notices the neighbor's door hanging wide open again, and decides to get his camera out. Without warning, the door slams shut.
Les gars, j'allais ressortir ma chienne. Je retrouve encore la porte comme ça. Et c'est pareil, on dirait qu'il n'y a personne. Je sais pas trop. Y'a quelqu'un? Jean-Luc. Je sais pas, c'est flippant. Ta mère! Oh la vache! Oh, je vais crever. Oh putain, l'enculé. Oh l'enculé.
Directly in front of him, despite no visible sign of anyone on the other side. It's unclear whether the man had been concealed behind the door the entire time, or whether something far less explainable was at work. The following day, he runs into one of the tenants from upstairs and brings up the strange neighbor. The upstairs tenant tells him he believes the man is possessed.
Vous habitez l'immeuble? Ouais. Excusez-moi, je suis votre voisin en fait, je suis du rez-de-chaussée. Si je peux vous parler 2 minutes, c'est par rapport à mon voisin de palier là.
Ah ouais, le fou un peu.
Ouais. Ouais. Pourquoi vous dites ça? Vous avez déjà vu des trucs?
Non, mais je sais pas, il est un peu bizarre. Pour être fou,
Mais genre, vous avez vu quoi?
Je sais pas, il est un peu possédé et tout, mais...
Possédé?
Ouais.
Which would explain the bizarre behavior. Then, later that same evening, a loud banging noise starts echoing through the building. So he heads around to the back of his garden to investigate, and here's what he found. The neighbor can be seen repeatedly slamming his head against the wall.
Je sais pas si vous entendez. Mais j'ose pas. J'ose pas aller voir. Ça s'arrête pas. Ah mais attends, je vais passer par mon jardin. Je vais essayer de filmer, attendez, bougez pas. Wow, je l'entends bien le bruit. Pourquoi je suis en rouge comme ça? Je sais pas. Comment je fais pour retourner? Attends. Merde. Wow, cette porte elle est ouverte. Putain, il y a un trou dans mon jardin.
After stopping the recording, he mentioned that the noise went on for roughly 5 more minutes before finally going quiet. The night after that, he's sound asleep when his dog suddenly erupts into frantic barking at something near the door at 4 in the morning, and he manages to capture this. A tense, scraping sound can be heard just outside, clearly agitating the dog.
Quelqu'un qui gratte à ma porte, putain. Je sais pas si vous entendez. Il est genre 4 heures du matin, ça vient de me réveiller, putain. Oh, c'est qui là? Je vais lui niquer sa race.
But the moment he calls out and swings the lobby door open, there's not a single soul in sight. Whether this neighbor is truly possessed or something else entirely is going on remains completely unresolved, but hopefully we get. Forgotten places have a way of holding on to their secrets. A TikTok creator known as Hats Off to the Energetic traveled to a run-down abandoned cabin somewhere in Oregon with her sister to do some repair work. But the second they pulled up, their dogs grew visibly uneasy, behaving as though the something invisible was lurking within those walls. Then the camera caught something that stopped them cold. Up on the second-floor balcony door, a dark, shadowy figure.
There's something moving in the door. The thing is, that door in there is really stiff. Like all of them are. So there's nothing hanging there. Fuck. It's creepy. It's gotta be something. I just gotta move it. What the It just. What the
And be seen standing completely still. Both sisters were shaken to their core, knowing the cabin had sat empty for years. The shape lingers for a few moments before slowly retreating back into the darkness. The woman behind the camera noted that the figure had no distinguishable face, yet its outline was unmistakably human. Neither sister doubted what she had seen. Both described the exact same silhouette. A number of viewers wrote it off as a curtain being pushed by a draft, but when the pair went back to examine that same door, they made a surprising discovery. There was no curtain anywhere near it. Inside, the cabin was a picture of total abandonment, broken furniture, debris strewn across every surface, and an atmosphere that felt suffocating in the worst possible way. As they moved through the space, they also uncovered details about the family who had once called it home, including the revelation that someone had actually passed away inside those walls. Afterward, both sisters described an overwhelming sense that something paranormal had taken hold of the place. So the real question becomes this: was that shadowy figure the spirit of whoever died there, or is something far darker still making that cabin its home? A young woman and her mom operate a small home-based daycare together. The chaos of children, laughter, tumbling toys, and tiny feet pounding across floors is just part of the daily routine. But their security camera ended up recording something that nobody has been able to make sense of. Out of nowhere, a little boy comes bolting out of a room in a panic, and the mother immediately rushes toward him, assuming he'd taken a tumble or been shoved by another kid. She steps inside to investigate. And the room is completely empty. Then, while she's still standing in there, a plastic playhouse, one of those big, chunky toddler structures, launches forward and slams face down onto the floor. Nobody anywhere near it. No wires, no warning, just gone. She comes back out to check on everyone. The kids are okay, just rattled. When the footage made its rounds on TikTok, viewers in the comments caught something the mother had completely missed. Right along the top of the door frame, just as the boy comes sprinting out screaming, you can make out what appear to be fingers curled over the edge, and the instant he starts screaming, those fingers pull back into the room. That's what prompted her to post a follow-up video, addressing what people online had spotted, and pointing out just how solid and heavy that plastic playhouse actually is. She then takes viewers inside the room and walks them through it. There's a small mirror in there.
So, firstly, we have the house, and obviously you guys saw that it fell, but the other thing I wanted to point out was that it's pretty hefty, so it really doesn't make any sense that it would just fall on its own like that. So that's just something I wanted to point out. Then this is the room. The crazy thing about this is that there was like markings at the top of the entranceway of like the doorway, and I guess in the video you can see hands
draped with a blanket. She explains it stays covered because that same little boy had told his mother he'd seen a face staring back at him from inside it, right before the whole incident unfolded. Then things escalate a few days on. The safety gate on that very same room begins swinging open.
Apparently, the little boy told my mom that he saw a face in these mirrors. We already found someone who's going to take it off our hands and pick it up off Facebook Marketplace, but we have been keeping this
on its own while the camera rolls. She grabs her phone and starts filming in real time. She enters the room, flips the light on, secures the gate herself, and then flat out
holy shit. That's fucking creepy. Do it again. Like, yeah, okay. Do it again. I'll wait.
Challenges whatever might be in there to try it again. From beneath the blanket draped over the mirror, a small shape appears to press upward against the fabric for just a moment.
Open the gate.
Like something beneath it is pushing to be noticed. A couple of days after that, she sets up a pair of walkie-talkies, planting one inside the sealed room and keeping the other with her. Through the receiver, she can hear crackling, tapping, and faint rattling coming through. The moment her mother steps in to retrieve the walkie-talkie from the room, every sound cuts out immediately. They place it back inside.
You guys heard that, right? That was this. Oh my god. I am not. Wow. I swear to God.
And the clicking resumes right on cue. So where does that leave you? Was there genuinely something lurking in that mirror? The same thing that little boy swore he saw before he went screaming out of the room? Or is this just a string of strange coincidences that happen to land in front of a camera? Maybe not everything Hollywood puts on screen is pure imagination. Check out what this security camera managed to capture. A woman posted this living room footage online, and what it shows is genuinely unsettling. In the video, you can make out the silhouette of something enormous passing directly through the space. It appears to descend from the ceiling area, drifting slowly across the room. What makes it even stranger is that the figure isn't fully rendered to the eye. It's just a warped, distorted mass that looks almost as if it's using some kind of cloaking ability. I don't know if you're picking up on the same thing I am, but it looks almost identical to the way the predators appeared on screen when they activated their invisibility. See for yourself what I'm talking about. Are you seeing what I'm seeing? Now, not everybody in the community is convinced this is the real deal. Plenty of viewers are pointing to CGI as the most likely explanation. That sparked quite the argument, and if you've spent any time around paranormal circles, you already know that kind of debate doesn't just fizzle out on its own. Either way, you've now watched the footage, and you can form your own opinion. So what's your verdict? Does this one hold up, or is it a fake? A deeply unsettling clip posted by TikTok creator Mark DeFalco has been making viewers genuinely uncomfortable. Shot back in May 2022, the footage opens on the scene of a bizarre accident. A car had somehow veered off and collided with a fence surrounding a local cemetery. Luckily, none of the headstones were damaged, but as Mark walks toward the crashed vehicle trying to piece together what occurred, things take a very dark turn. Somewhere in the background,
"You alright? You okay?"
a soft but eerie sound emerges, almost like a woman sobbing, despite the area appearing completely deserted. Put it all together, the unexplained weeping,
Hell? What the fuck is going on here? There ain't nobody there. Miss?
the location, and the strange nature of the crash itself, and you've got something that's hard to explain away. The comment section filled up fast, with people throwing out all kinds of explanations, from restless spirits to disembodied paranormal voices. As always, the creator isn't here to hand you an answer. He wants to hear what you think, so drop your theories down below. Shifting now to a family home, a mother by the name of Courtney records footage of a car seat sitting out in the living room. It belongs to her baby daughter, who isn't in it at the time. Had she been, what had just occurred might not seem so unsettling, because according to Courtney, the car seat had moved on its own just moments before.
Literally nothing here. My baby is sleeping. Don't have a remote. It did its own thing.
Even the family dog had a strong reaction to it. The dog growls and barks as though it can sense some kind of threat, despite nothing visible being present. One might try to explain the movement away by pointing to a vibrating toy nearby, but as Courtney herself points out, that theory doesn't hold up. The shaking was far too violent for any toy to be responsible. The car seat had moved with no apparent cause. While the first clip doesn't offer much in the way of answers, a second video Courtney posted is where things take a serious turn. She claims another disturbing incident had occurred, and unlike what happened recently, this one left her genuinely shaken. She was folding laundry and listening to a podcast when everything changed. In a scene straight out of a nightmare, Courtney's dog starts.
This one gave me a chance. We'll see how it goes. And we drive there. It's 2.5 hours away, and it looked exactly like my vision. And immediately in my heart, like I cannot explain the feeling in my heart, like is just, wow. Looking back, I'm like, God really, he just loves us so much. But, so I secured that wedding venue. It's great. Everything's good to go. I signed the papers. I called Drew. He was like in the thickest PA school at this time. And so he could have toured with me at a test that day. And this is it. This is my vision. And so fast forward to the wedding day. Fast forward to the wedding week. The entire the wedding, it says it's going to pour down, storm down that whole.
Growling at a completely empty corner of the room, it moves slowly and hesitantly, as though terrified of something unseen. Then, the moment the dog exits the room, a baby bottle shifts on its own, before tumbling right toward Courtney. She immediately grabs her baby and bolts from the room in a panic. Whatever just happened, she wanted no part of it. Now, even with the limited details surrounding this story, it's hard to deny that something deeply strange is happening inside that house. Ghost or not, both of these events have clearly rattled Courtney to her core. And for now, like so many of these cases, the truth behind it all remains unknown. Our next account comes from a woman named Rachel Mock, a practicing medium and spirit worker who has devoted years of her life to tarot readings and communicating with those who have passed on. Yet the most unsettling experience she has ever had didn't occur during one of her sessions. It happened while she was going back through security footage from an empty nightclub in the dead of night. The venue had already shut down for the evening with not a single person remaining inside. Yet the cameras had picked up something drifting between the tables in the direction of the dance floor. Something small, see-through, and moving entirely on its own. If you pay close attention to the recording,
Oh my god! That shit me out. Oh my god. I'm so scared. That's fucking crazy.
a faint, translucent shape can be spotted weaving through the tables before coming to a stop at the edge of the dance floor, almost as though it's uncertain whether to continue, then slowly reversing course and heading back the way it originally came. Keep in mind that Rachel does this for a living. She has spent the better part of her career.
Oh my god. What is it? It actually looks like it's walking, doesn't it?
Honing her sensitivity to spiritual presences and learning how to engage with them, and even someone with her background was completely at a loss for what she was witnessing that night. So the question remains, just what exactly was wandering across that dance floor? A Filipino dance troupe was on their way to Australia to compete in an international dance event. Late one evening, as they stood on a Sydney train platform waiting to board, something completely out of the ordinary caught their attention. There was an elderly woman seeming waiting for the same train, except she had no head. Initially, the group assumed it must have been some kind of display figure or decorative prop, but their confusion quickly turned to terror when the figure actually shifted and started slowly moving ahead. Residents of a peaceful York County neighborhood were left deeply unsettled after footage from a local home surfaced and began making the rounds online. Late on the evening of March 11th, 2025, a family's Ring doorbell camera recorded an unidentified figure making their way up toward the front porch. The individual had put together a homemade outfit, their face hidden behind a mask, twisted into a warped grin, a look that quickly earned them the title Box Demon from people across the internet. While standing at the door, the figure spoke in an eerie, unnatural tone, introducing themselves by that very name and insisting over and over that the large box they were carrying was meant as a gift. They then set the cardboard box down on the doorstep, turned away.
The box demon. I am the box demon. I believe this box.
And faded into the night. The clip spread rapidly, triggering a flood of speculation across social media. Neighbors voiced genuine alarm, with some going as far as suggesting the act could be interpreted as a threat or something far more sinister. Theories piled up fast, everything from stalking behavior to far stranger explanations. Before long, though, law enforcement managed to track down the person behind the mask. Authorities confirmed it was nothing more than a stunt pulled by someone chasing attention online. The box itself turned out to be completely empty, and no actual threat was ever established. Even so, the image of that masked figure materializing out of the darkness, calmly talking about a gift before slipping away, left a mark that wasn't so easy to shake. The incident wrapped up quickly enough, but the sight of the box demon stepping out of the shadows, dropping an empty box, and vanishing without a trace is the kind of thing that stays with people. Constructed back in 1917, the Santa Maria Inn stands as one of the oldest and allegedly most haunted lodgings in all of California. For decades, guests and employees alike have reported all manner of unsettling phenomena, objects shifting on their own, mysterious voices and footsteps reverberating through the corridors, and doors swinging open or shut without explanation. Now, a woman named Martha and her husband were checked into the Santa Maria Inn, their border collie Oreo in tow, when something odd unfolded during a simple walk down one of the hotel's hallways. Oreo suddenly loses it.
He was looking at them. Look, he's looking at them. He's looking at the bench. Oreo's freaking out, guys. And there's somebody sitting there. He doesn't want to go by it. It's all right. Come on. Come on.
Completely unprovoked, fixating on a bench sitting in the corridor. He lurches backward, lets out a growl, and absolutely will not go anywhere near it. But the dog's reaction isn't even the most unnerving part of this footage, because what they discovered on the audio during playback is what truly got under their skin. As Oreo scrambles away from that bench, a bone-chilling voice, belonging to no visible person, can be heard whispering in the background. Martha says she originally filmed this footage of her dog's bizarre behavior more than 5 years ago, but it wasn't until recently that she noticed she had also unknowingly recorded this eerie, inexplicable voice calling out the dog's name. Baby monitors are one of those things that parents across the globe depend on to watch over their little ones whenever they step out of the room. But there's arguably nothing more disturbing than glancing at the screen and coming face to face with something you were completely unprepared for. That's precisely the situation a TikToker by the name of Delaney B found herself in. The recording shows her baby resting quietly in the dead of night, everything appearing still and undisturbed, with no immediate sign that anything is wrong. Then, after just a few moments, something truly alarming enters the frame. Without any warning, what appears to be a long, pale arm materializes out of the shadows near the wall, slowly extending itself toward the sleeping child. It stretches an unnatural distance, hovering there briefly before gradually pulling back and disappearing into the darkness. The baby is left unharmed, but witnessing this sequence of events is more than enough to make any parent's blood run cold. A number of viewers are convinced there's a supernatural explanation at play, particularly given how clearly defined and deliberate the limb appears to be. The way it reaches forward and then withdraws, almost methodically, only deepens the sense of dread. The most grounded theory anyone has put forward is that it could simply be a person standing just beyond the camera's range, leaning into view from the shadows. But even that explanation doesn't sit entirely comfortably. The arm extends far too great a distance. No accompanying body is ever seen, and the motion feels off compared to what natural movement would look like. Regardless of what's behind it, the sight of something reaching toward your sleeping child in the middle of the night is an image that doesn't leave you easily, and this footage is going to stick with parents for a long time to come. Footage allegedly captured in Durham, England, depicts a deeply unsettling sight. A man stands motionless behind an office cubicle, frozen in a way that immediately feels off. At a glance, it seems merely odd, but once the camera closes in, the image becomes genuinely disturbing. His eyes look entirely white, his jaw hangs slack, and his head is cranked back at a deeply unnatural angle, nearly directed straight up toward the ceiling. The rest of him stays out of frame, but based on what's visible, his complete absence of movement reads as anything but normal. What amplifies the unease is the environment around him. Other people move through the room in the background without so much as a glance in his direction, as though he's completely invisible to them, or as if there's nothing remotely alarming about his condition. The exact location remains unverified, and reactions from viewers were split. Some believed he was a shapeshifter of some kind, while others suspected he was under the influence of a substance. If that second theory holds any weight, then hopefully this individual found the support he needed. The following video is about Nate, who still hasn't been able to figure out what exactly he's dealing with, or what approach to use to make it stop. Over time, the activity in his house hasn't faded or stabilized. It's escalated. He started waking up with unexplained scratches on his body, hearing footsteps when no one else is home, and noticing areas of the house where his dog refuses to go. But this particular morning was different. Watch closely.
All right, guys. Still kind of shaking a little bit here. So, I was upstairs. It's just me here, me and the dog. Wife left. I was upstairs, brushing my teeth. And from below me, like where my feet were, which would be the kitchen, I was hearing what sounded like knocks, which would be on the kitchen ceiling. Then it stopped. Once it stopped, I figured, okay, no big deal. So I came down. I was getting ready to cut some oranges. Came over to get the one I always use, the knife I always use to cut fruit and vegetables and stuff. And it's not there. So I figured, oh, it must be dirty. No. Kind of stood for a minute, and then like, what the f on here? Like, in this house. This is a different level. This is not right. This is not. This is not okay. This is not okay. It's in there pretty. So I'm guessing that was the sound I was hearing from below my feet. Because the bathroom is right on the other side of this, so that's how my morning started. Just wanted some oranges.
Objects found in positions like this, especially heavy or sharp objects, are often associated with aggressive poltergeist activity, where force and intent seem to be involved. This isn't something falling, tipping, or sliding. Something had to exert pressure to get it there. And when Nate says, "This is not okay," there's something else, a faint voice responding. It's difficult to make out, but undeniably there, almost as if whatever caused this is aware it's been noticed. Another morning, Nate is home alone when he notices something peeking out from his basement. At first, he tries to come up with logical reasons: shadows, lighting, his eyes adjusting, but the sense of being watched didn't go away. Eventually, he grabbed his camera, and here's what he caught.
Guys, check it out. Something was peeking. Right out. From the basement. I wanted to see if we can catch it. The end of it. But it was like right by the bed. What the? This has been the third morning in a row. Like clockwork. I might have to look back, but it might be around the same times as well. I don't understand. There's nothing. And then I was hearing steps coming down those stairs, but there's nothing. Guys. I don't know, guys. Maybe we can try. What was that?
For many viewers, the most unsettling part isn't even the shape peeking from the basement, it's the whispering. Some people believe they can hear words being formed, while others say it sounds like incoherent murmuring. What makes this harder to dismiss is Nate's claim that this hasn't been a one-time occurrence. He says it's been happening almost every morning, always from the same spot, as if something is watching and waiting. After several people weighed in, many pointed out a recurring detail in Nate's updates. His house is almost always dark, and some believe that prolonged darkness, combined with emotional stress and fear, can intensify paranormal activity, creating an environment where whatever is present feels undisturbed, comfortable, or even encouraged. Then Nate shared another update, one that only made the situation more mysterious. Listen carefully.
I want to share a little update on the activity and something that happened last night. I'm only putting this out there to maybe get some advice or answers, or if anybody has experienced something like this. So I was in a dream. I was dreaming that I was in my house and something had come and woken me up and told me to follow it downstairs. It needed to show me something. So I followed it downstairs, but the whole time my eyes couldn't adjust to what I was following. It was just a figure. Couldn't tell if it was male or female. It was shorter than me. I'm 6 feet. It was shorter than me. That's all I can make out. It was like a, not a mist, but it was like not a full formed shape, if that makes any sense. But it's a dream, so I figured, anyways, I follow it downstairs, into the middle of the dining room, and it just lifts up and points its arm towards the basement. I didn't know what it was trying to tell me, but then instantly there was this loud wake up, but it didn't come from the figure. I immediately woke up, but when I woke up, I was standing in my dining room. I have never, ever had an issue of sleepwalking. Never in my life, at least that I know of, or remember, or have ever been told that I sleepwalk. So, I don't know if it was a dream. I don't know if it was a lucid dream. I don't know if I was sleepwalking. But has anybody ever experienced something like this? Because I am at a loss what it means. If there's a reason behind it.
He believes that whatever woke him may have been a warning, possibly his spirit guides, stopping him from going into the basement. From his perspective, the whispers, the peeking, and the activity all seem like attempts to lure him closer to whatever is down there. But others see it completely differently. Some believe the voice that woke him wasn't protecting him at all, but guiding him. That whatever is happening in the basement holds the answers to what he's been experiencing, and whatever else is in the house doesn't want him finding out. That the whispers, distractions, and fear are meant to keep him away. So now the question is, was Nate being warned, or was he being invited? And if something does want him in that basement, the real question is why. I'd love to hear your thoughts. In this next video, Kyle found an abandoned house and decided to do a quick walkthrough, filming the inside to show his partner later. He went in expecting the usual things explorers look for: scattered belongings, traces of past lives, maybe old furniture frozen in time, but what he captured turned out to be something very different. Have a look. Just in case you missed it, within the first few seconds of the video, there are several details that immediately stand out. A black cat is seen inside the abandoned house, which is strange on its own, considering how rarely animals stay inside unstable, empty structures for long. In medieval European folklore, black cats were believed to be familiars, supernatural beings or animal-shaped entities said to assist in dark practices. They weren't viewed as ordinary animals, but as extensions of something else, something unseen. In other cultures, black cats were considered omens of death. One 16th century Italian superstition even claimed that if a black cat lay on a sick person's bed, death would soon follow. Because of these beliefs, the presence of a black cat in an already badly abandoned, decaying structure has long been associated with places thought to be spiritually active. Almost immediately after he saw the black cat, a door was shaking violently, even though no one else was inside the building. There's no visible draft, no footsteps, no movement nearby that would explain it. On top of that, faint orbs drift through the frame, and an odd sound can be heard in the background. But one of the most unsettling details is something Kyle himself didn't even notice at the time. What's unsettling is how layered the activity feels. The cat, the shaking door, the orbs, and the sound. None of them happen in isolation, and together they create the sense that Kyle may not have been as alone as he thought. But it's not just his experiences at abandoned places that keeps viewers on the edge of their seats. For context, Kyle is someone who frequently explores abandoned places, and his partner happens to collect strange dolls. So when he shared what things look like at home, many viewers weren't surprised, but they were still disturbed. Watch this.
Just got home from work. This needs to stop. I need help, please. Going to explore it later.
When she got home, the door was rattling like someone was trying to get out, but the moment she entered, there's no one there, and the doll by the window was no longer there. No one entered the room, no one touched it, it was simply gone. Some viewers believe the activity from the abandoned house may have followed him home, not necessarily attached to him, but drawn to familiar objects, especially dolls, which are often believed to act as conduits or focal points for paranormal energy. Others think it's something that was already present in their home, and that Kyle's exploration may have stirred it up. According to Kyle and his partner, they don't feel threatened by whatever is happening. They describe it as more of an annoyance than anything else. Objects moving, small disturbances, things being misplaced and reappearing. Nothing violent or aggressive, but that's where many people begin to worry, because paranormal activity rarely stays the same forever. What starts as harmless or playful behavior can escalate over time, especially if it's being acknowledged, recorded, or unintentionally encouraged. The fact that they don't feel threatened now doesn't necessarily mean it will always stay that way. So is this something that's simply coexisting with them, or is it still figuring out how far it can go? I'll leave you to be the judge on this one. Now in this next clip, Nick has been documenting the strange activity that's been following him, not just at home, but at work. At his store, Nick installed security cameras everywhere, and according to him, there are very few nights where nothing strange happens. Chairs shift on their own, objects fall over, no matter how carefully they're placed. Items that were stable moments earlier suddenly end up on the floor. And there have even been times when he's returned to the store only to find windows cracked, despite no signs of forced entry. And when he gets home, it doesn't stop. Watch this.
Is there anyone here that can give me a sign? And something just fell off the counter, right in front of my face. Holy shit! Okay, is there anyone here? Yay, that was fun. Love this room. Just again, this is... Oh my god, my camera won't even focus. Hello? Can you use the dream catch? Okay, my camera's not even focusing, this is so weird. Can you use the dream catcher again to try to communicate with me, please? Okay. I think it made a sound out here again. Hello?
In this video, Nick asks for a sign, and almost immediately, objects begin falling. While some viewers see this as confirmation of paranormal activity, others warn that asking for signs isn't always a good idea. On one hand, some believe that spirits responding to direct questions may indicate intelligence or awareness, possibly a presence trying to communicate. Especially when the response is immediate, it can feel like validation that someone or something is listening. But on the other hand, many people argue that inviting responses, even unintentionally, can escalate activity. Asking for signs is often seen as giving permission, opening a door, rather than simply observing what's already there. And once something realizes it's being acknowledged, the activity can increase in both frequency and intensity. Another detail viewers couldn't ignore is the presence of several floating orbs throughout the footage. While skeptics argue these could be dust or insects reflecting light, others point out that the orbs appear at moments of heightened activity, drifting, changing direction, and lingering in ways that don't seem random. Because the activity follows Nick from place to place, many people believe Nick himself may be the focal point. Not the house, not the store, but him. Some say he could be unknowingly carrying something attached to him. Others take it a step further, suggesting the presence may be something darker, possibly even demonic, feeding off attention or fear. Nick, clearly unsettled, has been asking for advice on how to make it stop. Take a look at the security footage from his store. This footage only strengthened the theory that whatever is causing the disturbances at both locations is attached to Nick. The activity mirrors what happens at his home. Objects moving without explanation, sudden shifts in the environment, and no visible cause. The consistency between both locations makes it harder to argue coincidence or environmental factors. If the house were haunted, the store wouldn't be affected. If the store were the problem, the activity wouldn't follow him home. That's what makes this case so unsettling. It suggests something mobile, something that isn't bound by walls or locations, something that goes where he goes. And until Nick shares more updates or finds a way to stop what's happening, this case remains a mystery. But what you think? Is Nick haunted, or is he being followed? In the following video, the man behind the camera keeps moving through what looks like a storage area, the kind of tight corridor where every box and shadow feels like it has weight. And you can tell he is already on edge as he scans each corner with the camera. He stops when he notices a door that should never be opened during the investigation, sitting cracked just enough to make the hallway feel wrong. And he slowly leans in to look behind it, even though the team is nowhere nearby.
La puerta se abre y se cierra sola.
Se está abriendo esa puerta. No hay nadie.
Y por acá también se escucha ruido.
He finds the door opening a crack, so opens it and checks behind it just to see nothing. Because of this, he walks away and the door shuts by itself as a strange noise starts playing behind it, and he speed walks out of the hallway. The second that door slams, you can see his whole body tense, because that wasn't wind, and it definitely wasn't timing or coincidence. And the noise that follows sounds like something trying to push through the wall just to remind him he is not supposed to be there. His footsteps turn into a full speed walk that almost looks like he wants to run, but refuses to make noise, and every few seconds he glances back like he expects the door to open again. Moments like that show exactly why investigators always say curiosity is one thing, but when the building answers you on its own, that is when you learn how fast fear can move. It was late enough that the local markets should have felt peaceful, but every shutter was pulled down tight and the whole place looked abandoned, except for May cutting through the empty rows. She knew the place was closed and shouldn't have held any noise at all, which is why the first faint scream stopped her in her tracks, sounding like someone crying out in pain from deep inside the metal-covered stalls. She followed it slowly, each step making the sound grow sharper and more desperate, until it felt like it was right beside her, but no matter where she turned, there was never anyone there.
Imagínate andar por la central de abastos y oír esto.
The screaming and crying keep getting louder as she walks, yet she can't find the source, even when it sounds feet away. By the time she reached the end of the walkway, the noise was so overwhelming it felt like it was coming from the walls, and she spun around expecting someone to stumble out, but the shutters were sealed tight like they hadn't moved in hours. That was the moment she realized she wasn't chasing a person at all, and the way the sound cut off instantly once she stopped filming, almost like it knew she understood, made the silence after feel even worse. May had walked straight into something trying to be heard, and the fact that it never showed itself only made it clearer that she had been listening to a ghost. It happened late in the evening when the house was already settling into that quiet that makes every shadow seem a little thicker, and Charlie kept tugging at his dad's sleeve, saying there was a scary boy standing across the room staring at him. His dad brushed it off at first, calling it pretend, but Charlie wasn't smiling or joking. He just kept insisting the boy was real and he didn't want to be near him. Eventually, the dad told him to show where this scary boy was, so Charlie nervously walked with him through the hall and stopped at a doorway, pointing inside with his hands shaking like he expected something to move.
What are you saying, Charlie? There's a scary boy where? What do you mean? What, are you doing pretend? Yeah, you're just playing pretend, aren't you? Do you want to show me? Show me then. Come on. You show me where he is. Where? Where? In there? In there? Okay, get ready, Charlie. No scary boy. No, there's nothing there, mate. Do you want me to go in? Look, there's absolutely nothing in here. You've got nothing to be scared about. I'm absolutely shitting myself. There's nothing to be scared about. There's nothing here. That's just the bathroom. Nothing there, buddy. Yeah. That's just the shower. Never been more scared in my entire life. Oh my. See, told you, nothing there, mate. Perfect. Come on, let me silly.
The father opens the door and sees nothing, while Charlie refuses to step past the threshold. The moment the door swings open to an empty room, the dad turns back confused, but Charlie steps back like he's afraid something invisible is right in front of him, claiming that the scary boy is still there, even if his dad can't see him. That kind of fear doesn't come from pretending, and the way Charlie wouldn't even look into the room made the dad realize this wasn't just a kid's imagination. It was something he couldn't explain, and something Charlie clearly wished he hadn't noticed at all. It was supposed to be a quiet night in Braden's room, but the ceiling kept creaking with slow, heavy footsteps, even though nobody was home, and there shouldn't have been anything moving above him at all. He sat still for a second, trying to convince himself it was the house settling, but the steps were too steady, too human, so he grabbed his flashlight and started walking through the dark halls with that kind of nervous focus where every sound feels closer than it should.
Wow, it's really bad right now. Okay, hold on. Jesus. Okay, hold up. Why is the tree on there? Whatever that is coming from up here. Should I attempt to go in there? Because that was coming, all that thumping, it was coming from like right in there, in that room.
What the? He points his flashlight upstairs and hears his own exact voice say, "Come up for a sec." The way the voice coming down the stairs matched his tone perfectly meant he froze, because there was no way his own voice should be calling him from a place where nobody was standing. It wasn't an echo, and it wasn't a trick of the house. It sounded like something pretending to be him just to get his attention. He didn't step closer. He didn't even breathe for a moment, because when something upstairs can mimic you perfectly, the last thing you want to do is give it the chance to talk again. The following video was captured amidst a normal slow night at the sneaker shop. The kind where the worker is just sweeping the floor and straightening boxes while the CCTV quietly records every corner of the room. Nothing feels off until the air suddenly shifts a little, just enough to make him pause, and the camera catches him glancing toward the back like he sensed something move. As he keeps cleaning, the door to the back of the shop slams shut on its own, even though nothing is near it. He jumps and stares because there's no draft, no co-workers, no reason for it to slam with that much force, and the CCTV angle shows the room behind it is completely empty. It's the kind of movement that looks deliberate, like something wanted to make itself noticed, and the way he slowly backs away from the doorway says everything. Even in a brightly lit shop, surrounded by sneakers and shelves, that door made it clear he wasn't alone at all. The same sneaker shop is open now, customers walking around and the place feeling completely normal, like nothing strange had ever happened there. And one of the workers is helping a guy try on a new pair he picked from the wall. They're chatting casually as the customer slips the sneakers on. Then he walks over toward the mirror to get a better look, while the worker follows a few steps behind, totally unaware that the cameras are still watching every corner and about to capture something crazy.
Yeah, I'm going, bro. Railroad 3 o'clock. He's trying not to take very long myself. Hell no.
As the customer stands in front of the mirror, a single sneaker from the display wall drops to the floor on its own, with no one near it, causing both of them to panic and run. The moment that sneaker hits the ground, they both whip around because it didn't slide, it didn't wobble off, it fell straight down like something knocked it loose with intention. You can see the confusion turn into fear instantly, and the worker doesn't even try to explain it before bolting toward the front door with the customer right behind him. It feels like whatever slammed the back door before was still there, waiting for another chance to be noticed, and that single falling sneaker was enough to send them both running. The shop had only been open for 12 minutes when the man working started saying something was moving around in the attic, and the walls, like the whole building, was settling wrong, and the fact that the store next door was abandoned made every sound feel way more isolated than it should. He walked around the aisles with his camera, trying to prove he wasn't imagining it, and the second he passed the back corner, he heard a hard knock hit behind the wall, like something was following him from the other side.
Okay, we have literally been open for 12 minutes. There is so much stuff happening right now that I don't even understand it. So I'm going to show you. No one's on the cameras. There's stuff coming from the attic and in the walls again. And if you look it up, the store next to us doesn't exist. They went out of business. No one's here. Hello? Hello? Did you hear the knock? Hello? Can you knock again? Oh my. What the? It's honestly a great day to be haunted. I'm just recording right from it. I don't know if the machines are so loud, but there's so much knocking coming from the attic. This is insane, like literally. Okay. I'm gonna throw up. I'm not ready for this. It is too early for this. We're not even open. Hello? Is there a reason you're so active right now? My Jesus Christ! What the fuck is that? I can't fake that. Holy cow. Okay, wait. I'm gonna try to do one continuous video proving that nobody's up here. Oh my god. Oh my god, I have goosebumps. Wow, this ain't even a TikTok. Okay. I'm just... God. Okay, it literally just stopped. It literally just stopped. Okay, can't show the code. Can't show the code. Something literally flew off the wall. Bro. Bro, Spirit, is there a reason you're so upset today? Oh my goodness. Oh my goodness. Oh my goodness, Jesus. I don't even know where to go. Okay. Holy, look at this. I'm a little actually scared right now because this is in the morning. We don't usually experience this much in the morning.
The knocks keep happening as he circles the store, most of them coming from the attic, and the place isn't even open yet, so there is no way it could be a prankster customer. He pulls down the attic ladder, and loud banging erupts above him before going silent. But right as he says it stopped, more knocks explode across the ceiling, and something is thrown off the wall. He shows the item on the floor through the CCTV feed. When the object hits the ground, he freezes, because that wasn't just noise, it was force, and the attic ladder hanging open behind him makes it feel like something could climb down at any second. He stands there breathing hard while staring into the dark above, and the silence that follows feels like the building is waiting for him to move so it can answer again. Ian, a ghost hunter in the Midwest, entered a decaying factory that locals claimed was haunted. The air was thick with dust and the faint smell of rust, and the silence made every creak echo like a warning. He set up his equipment, hoping to communicate with whatever lingered in the shadows, and immediately something responded.
Who are you? Whoa. Sir, why do you still haunt this tannery? But you said railing. Railing. Like fell over the railing. Are you saying that you died on these catwalks? And that you fell? Whoa. It sounded like that's what happened. Jesus. This is so crazy. Thank you, sir, for communicating with me. Is there anything you would like to say? Sounded like it said work. Are you going back to work? Well, I'm going to go ahead and let you get back to work then, if that's the case.
The voice was faint but clear, saying, "Lost my balance." Ian asked why it haunted the place, and the reply came simply, "Railing." Piecing it together, he assumed the spirit had fallen from the railing in life, and the ghost confirmed that's what happened. Feeling a mix of relief and awe, Ian thanked the spirit for sharing its story, then gave it one last chance to speak. The final words whispered back, "It's working," leaving Ian with the eerie sense that the factory still held secrets, and that even in death, some connections lingered longer than expected. Inside the Lizzie Borden house, specifically the Abby and Andrew suite, a location already known for its haunted reputation, an investigator named Kyle is exploring on his own. As he tries to enter the suite, the door repeatedly locks on him despite there being no one inside. The resistance alone is strange, but what waits beyond is worse. When he finally starts recording and manages to get in, the entire room is lit in an intense red glow, giving everything an unnatural, heavy atmosphere as he slowly moves through the space.
Trying to enter the Abby and Andrew suite at the Lizzie Borden house. The door locked on me with no one in there. This is really terrifying.
At one point, a door inside the suite closes by itself, with no one near it. Another detail investigators point out is how the camera suddenly goes out of focus right as he enters, something often considered a sign that it may be trying to focus on something not visible to the eye. Between the locking door the shifting focus, and movement happening on its own, the suite feels less like an empty room and more like a space already occupied by something unseen. In the same house, but at a different time, another moment was captured that made the activity feel even more deliberate. Ahead of the camera was a doorway, and the door itself began sliding back and forth on its own, slowly moving just enough to reveal the terrifying doll that was inside the room, then drifting back to hide it again, over and over, like something unseen was controlling the exact moment of exposure. The motion was smooth and controlled, not like it was swinging from a draft, but gliding in a way that felt intentional.
This is happening again. I will show you no one is there.
After repeating this several times, the door suddenly stopped moving altogether. The stillness that followed felt heavier than the motion itself. Kyle decided he had seen enough. He stepped out of the room and kicked the nearby doll far down the hall, putting distance between himself and the space, leaving the house with even more questions about what might be sharing it with visitors. Another moment from the same location adds even more to the tension inside the house. In a separate clip, a wooden door can be seen trying to open on its own, quickly pulling inward, except the metal chain lock is the only thing stopping it from fully opening. The pressure on the door looks constant, like something on the other side is testing it, pushing just enough to make the chain tighten and rattle.
This place is so haunted. Locked. Bathroom empty. Help!
Not long after, Kyle attempts to enter a different room, but the door resists him, pushing back as if someone unseen is holding it shut from the other side. He tries again, confused and uneasy, but the resistance doesn't change, making it feel less like a stuck door and more like something actively keeping him out. The combination of doors moving on their own and spaces refusing entry is enough for him. Kyle leaves the house shortly after, clearly disturbed, with the feeling that whatever is inside doesn't just exist there, it controls who is allowed in. Antonio was inside his house when something small but deeply unsettling happened right in front of him. A toy bicycle, the kind you'd expect a child to ride, suddenly began gliding across the floor on its own, rolling smoothly from one room into an adjacent one with no one near it. The movement wasn't jerky or accidental, it was steady and direct, like it had a destination. The quiet of the house only made it worse, the wheels faintly echoing as it crossed the floor.
Claudia, how stai? Claudia, how stai?
The detail that makes the moment even more disturbing is what that toy represents. There are children in the home. Luckily, none of them were there at the time, which makes the situation feel less like a coincidence and more like something happened when the house was at its most vulnerable. Antonio is left staring after it, realizing this wasn't just an object moving, it was something choosing to move it. The next day, Antonio was trying to have a number 2 in peace when the activity followed him again. Sitting in the bathroom, already on edge after what happened with the toy bicycle, he noticed the door ahead of him slowly creak open on its own. He froze, staring at it, when it suddenly slammed shut. A few seconds later, it opened again and slammed a second time, louder, more aggressive. After a short pause, the pattern continued, the door opening slightly, then slamming with force, over and over, like something was toying with the timing. There was no draft, no one else in the house, and no logical reason for the movement to repeat so consistently. The sound echoed through the hallway each time, making the small bathroom feel even more enclosed. Antonio was left sitting there, unable to ignore the fact that whatever had moved the toy the day before now seemed to be following him from room to room. With no further updates, we have no idea how safe Antonio currently is, so we can only hope and pray. A group of friends were spending time together at a forest park, casually messing around while 3 of them helped one of their daughters on a swing. It seemed like a normal, light-hearted moment. Laughter, movement, nothing out of the ordinary. Their focus stayed on the child, making sure she was safe and having fun, and none of them paid attention to what was happening behind them.
Gente, denle despacito, no me la vayan a mandar al árbol arriba. No bajen los pies. Ahí era la buena.
No bajen los pies.
Oh, no. ¿Cómo se la apura, güey?
Es que está en flaquillo ese bastón.
No, y parece que se levanta como...
Te toca así se fue bien derechita. Yo no fui a Tío Lalo. El último sigue Brian porque dice que no dice nada.
In the background, partially hidden between the trees, a strange and deeply uncanny figure could be seen moving through the woods. Its shape was vaguely human, but the way it moved was wrong, too stiff in some moments, too fluid in others, making it look unnatural. It lingered only briefly before slipping out of frame, unnoticed by everyone there. When viewers later spotted it in the footage, the moment changed from wholesome to disturbing, because whatever that was, it did not look like a normal person just passing through the forest. A woman was out walking along a trail she usually takes when she noticed something sitting off to the side of the path. It was a camera, partially hidden but clearly placed there, and when she picked it up, she saw what looked like dried blood on the casing. The discovery immediately made the situation feel serious, but one detail stood out even more. The camera still had battery left, which meant there could be footage saved on it. She was unsure what she might find if she turned it on, the quiet trail suddenly feeling very different than it had minutes before.
You're not gonna believe this. I just found a camera out here with something that looks like it could be blood on it. I have no idea, but I think there's still some battery on it, so there could be some footage on here. Should I look at it?
Instead of checking it right away, she asked viewers whether she should look through the footage at all, knowing whatever was on there could explain why it was left there, or make the situation far more disturbing than it already seemed. She eventually decided to share what was on the camera, posting the footage for others to see. The video begins with a slow 360 view of the forest, the lens turning steadily, capturing the quiet trees and empty trail from every angle. At first, nothing seems out of place, just still woods and distant shadows between the branches. During the rotation, a black figure can briefly be seen standing among the trees before quickly slipping behind one, disappearing from view as if it knew it had been caught on camera. The movement is subtle but undeniable, something solid enough to block the light, yet too dark and undefined to make out clearly. Some believe this figure could explain the blood on the camera, but there is no proof, no context, and no way to know what really happened out there, leaving only the footage and a lot of unanswered questions. Darwin and two of his friends were exploring an abandoned building that locals had warned them about for years, a place with a reputation for unexplained activity and people leaving early out of fear. They were filming casually at first, laughing it off until the mood shifted fast.
¿Ya está grabando? ¿Estamos activos? ¿Pilosos?
Por si acaso voy a sonar. Oye, suena unos tacos, marico. Oye, suena unos tacos, loco. Aguanta, mira, mira. Aguanta. Que ya se detuvieron. Pero que escuchaste. Sí, chucha. ¿Escuchaste? No son los tacos de ese día del baño. Aguanta, aguanta. No sé.
Hijo de puta.
Mira, marico. Parece que hay algo arriba. Mira los tacos otra vez. Vámonos, que chucha, vamos a ver. Déjame llevar una piedra por si le voy a meter un piedrazo, loco.
Oye, pero ¿y si es una verga, güey?
Ah.
Bueno, si es un fantasma, no una verga, ¿cómo hacerlo?
No, no se le botar la escalera abajo.
¿Qué chucha es eso, güey?
Suena como que botea también una güey.
Sí, güey. Andy. Ven.
Ven, güey, ven. Pero, por si acaso haciendo algo malo, loco. Aguanta eso. Sí, es bautizado, güey.
Sí, creo.
Quiere que lo amarrado, loco.
Oye, se están coleando al lado.
Oye, no digas eso, es que ese video van a ver todos en común.
Oye, no jodas. No jodas.
No importa si le metimos. Oye, ¿dónde que están golpeando alguna casa, loco?
Oye, pero al lado no hay nadie, tú eres loco.
¿Escuchaste?
No, Malvin, escuché. Pero no hay nadie al lado, pues cómo van a estar golpeando.
Claro, son casas vacías. Ven.
Espérate.
¿Escuchaste?
Sí. ¿Qué carajo es eso?
Mira, como el cuarto de acá.
¿De cuál está?
De este cuarto. Y solo estamos los dos. Ven. Entra vos primero, güey.
No, tú eres loco, güey.
Entra vos primero, loco. Deja ver si no hay nada en este cuarto. No hay nada. Ya se cayó, ya se fue, creo. ¡Uy! ¡Oye, cállate! No grites. Oye, mira, la puerta está abierta. Escuchamos que cerró una puerta, ¿te acuerdas? Deja ver si me cerraron la puerta de acá atrás. Oye, suena como que siguen caminando por arriba. Vamos. ¿Qué ves? Oye, si lo sonaron el Mario. Oye, suena como que salen a caminar, pero no se ve nada. No. Está todo. Oye, mira. Esa puerta, mira. Esa puerta estaba abierta cuando vinimos, ¿te acuerdas? Sí. Marico, ¿escuchaste? Qué bien. Ay, dile que traiga el perro,
Andy.
Ay, viene de ahí, loco, y si alguien está ahí.
Oye, el fantasma de ¿dónde?
Full English este man. Haz silencio, no nos gritarás, ¿verdad? No serás como loco. Verás que tú gritas me putean, a mí me botan del trabajo.
No, le echan.
Oye, ¿quién golpea, güey? Oye, no hay nadie, marico. No hay nadie. Aguanta, suena por aquí algo.
Oye.
Ven. ¿Se escuchas? ¿Qué? Oye, hay algo en ese closet, marico.
Sí,
Y yo no voy a abrir el closet. Supongo que me sale alguna pendejada.
From somewhere above them, clear footsteps echoed down the stairwell, heavy enough that all three froze and went silent. Then came a sound that didn't make sense, like a rush of wind, but distorted, almost shaped, as if it was being pushed through the building by something alive. More footsteps followed upstairs, pacing back and forth. One of the group tried to stay calm and slowly started climbing the stairs, the others close behind, their flashlights shaking. When they reached the top floor, the footsteps didn't stop. They moved deeper into the darkness ahead of them. As they stepped fully onto the floor, a burst of unsettling, almost demonic laughter rang out, sharp and close enough to make them recoil. A door somewhere nearby suddenly slammed shut, and panic took over as they sprinted out of the building, gasping for air. After a few minutes, they worked up the courage to go back inside, convinced adrenaline had gotten the better of them. But the moment they re-entered, the footsteps started again, just as loud as before. They climbed the stairs one more time, filming everything, but there was still nothing visible. Then a strange voice-like sound echoed through the hall, almost forming the words, "Help me." Seconds later, a door ahead of them slowly creaked open by itself, stopping just a few inches wide. That was enough. Whatever was in that building clearly didn't want them there, and it made sure they knew it. Just as they were about to leave the store for the night, Nick and his co-worker were standing near the entrance, debating whether they should just walk out and grab her keys from the back room later. The lights ahead of them were flickering non-stop, buzzing on and off, in a way that felt way too deliberate to be electrical. You can hear the hesitation in both their voices as they start recording, knowing they've dealt with strange things here before.
Okay guys, we were literally just about to leave my store when shit just started flickering again. This is the second time it's happened. My car's over there, and
I'm shaking right now.
okay, and her keys are in the back.
We need to go. We need to go get my keys.
And the light turned on.
I don't want to go.
Okay, well, I'm gonna literally record this whole thing just so you guys can see what happened. I'm literally so scared. Okay, okay, something. The bathroom light's on too.
Bro, why are my keys on the floor? They were not there. Like, I deadass put them on the desk. Like, oh my god.
This is literally insane.
As they slowly walk toward the back, something on the front counter suddenly slides off and hits the floor, startling both of them. They freeze in place for a moment, unsure if they should keep going, but the woman advances because she needs her keys from the kitchen. They push forward even though neither of them wants to. When they finally reach the kitchen doorway, they realize the situation has only gotten worse. Random objects are scattered across the floor, like something had been tossing things around when nobody was in there. Nothing is moving now, the lights aren't flickering back here, and no one else is inside the store. But the aftermath is clear as day. Whatever was acting up wasn't finished until they came to see it. And Nick's expression says it all. This store has something in it, and it wasn't happy they tried to leave. In the direct continuation of their video, Nick and his co-worker are now sitting in the back room, huddled around the security monitors while trying to figure out what to do next. They're already nearly 50 minutes past the end of their shift, too scared to walk through the store again, but too nervous to stay inside any longer. As Nick walks around to show something they missed earlier, a thud happens right beside him off-screen, like something had just been thrown across the room. They both jump instantly, backing away from one another while in panic.
Okay guys, we've been sitting in the back for like 20 minutes now, and we're just watching the cameras and stuff is still flickering and going on, but nothing happened back here, and we need to go home, and this is so freaking terrifying.
We're 50 minutes past our shift because of this shit.
We closed at 10, so we need to like, it's so dark because all the light switches are over here.
Stop it, go.
Okay, this is what I mean. This room is over. This is.
Oh my god.
This is what we're dealing with.
Oh my god, yo, what? Bro, Nick, did you on purpose? Did you fake this? No, I'm gonna beat the shit out of you, Nick.
Stop! You're literally. Are you?
No, wait, no. Nah.
No. We literally looked away for like 2 seconds.
Eventually, they decide they can't stay in the building, so they head outside to wait for the manager. Standing by the front windows, they keep an eye on the dark store through the glass, filming just in case anything else happens. That's when the lights above the front counters begin to sway back and forth, slow but deliberate, as if something inside was pacing beneath them. Nobody's in the building now, the AC is off, and the doors are locked, yet the fixtures keep swinging overhead like someone is still walking around in there. Nick's co-worker started saying she's done coming in for late shifts after the recording, and Nick doesn't even argue. After everything they just watched happen, it's pretty clear the store isn't empty at all. A few days later, Nick is back on shift, this time during the daytime when the store should feel a lot less eerie. But the moment he starts recording, it becomes obvious that whatever's been happening hasn't stopped at all.
Okay, we're gonna peace out for the night. Okay, we're gonna peace out for the night. This is, I can't even put the key in. This is what we deal with at Twirls and Twirls, and no one believes us because who would? Who really would? And the backlight's still on.
Please, it's fucking possessed by a demon, so
No, the light's still on.
Like, which one?
I don't think we turned it off though, but now the machine lights are on. Good. This is great. This is great. Okay guys, I'm here alone. It's a few days later, and it's 6 o'clock. I'll show you the time. The lights are freaking flickering again. The music is being wacky. The speakers are in the ceiling. Like, this is literally insane. And now they stopped. And now they're like, this is what I mean. Nothing. Like, I don't know how to explain this. The switch is right here. This is.
The overhead lights are flickering again, brightening and dimming in quick bursts even though the weather's calm, and the power in the rest of the building is perfectly steady. As he walks through the kitchen, you can hear the store's music cutting in and out, switching itself off for a few seconds before randomly coming back on at full volume, like someone is messing with the system behind the scenes. Nick keeps panning the camera around to show that he's alone up front. No customers and no co-workers near the switches or speakers. The atmosphere feels completely wrong for the middle of the day, almost like the store is trying to prove that time doesn't matter. Whatever made the late night shift so terrifying is still here, still active, and now it isn't even waiting for the dark. Nick seems very frightened a little near the end, and he later says he doesn't get paid enough for this. And honestly, after everything that's happened, he might be right. Here's the smooth, seamless continuation in your exact TS format, with the transitions flowing naturally into the previous clips. From the woman's perspective now, the video switches to her filming as she and Nick sit together in the back room, scrolling through the CCTV footage to make sense of everything. She explains how, earlier that night, one of the chairs in the front seating area randomly fell over, and the lights all across the store were flickering at the same time, almost like the whole building was reacting to something they couldn't see. They're both pointing at the monitor, talking quietly about which camera angle to check next, when suddenly, a strange noise echoes from somewhere outside the room. It's loud enough to cut their conversation short instantly. They freeze, stare at each other, and within a second, both get up and run out of the office in panic, leaving the camera pointed at the floor.
Hey, it's 11:29. Me and Nick were supposed to leave here at 11 o'clock, but weird shit is happening.
A chair fell. There's lights flickering on the machines.
There is lights flickering everywhere.
A chair fell.
It's freaking me out.
I mean, what the f is that? There's actual footsteps going on in the ceiling right now, and something just fell over here. Is anyone there?
I'm scared. Oh, stop! Stop! Oh my god! Stop!
The footage then cuts directly to the CCTV from earlier that night, showing the exact moment the chair fell. There's no one around it, nothing touching it, and the fall is so sudden it looks like it had been yanked. Right after that, the video switches to handheld footage again, now from the woman's phone, as she joyfully walks through the store. As she approaches the front counter, something crashes loudly to her right. She swings the camera over, and the cash register that had been sitting up on the counter is now on the floor, tipped over on its back like it was pushed hard. She gasps instantly. This entire chain of events makes it obvious that whatever is in the store isn't tied to the time of day, the number of people around, or whether anyone is watching. It shows itself whenever it wants to, and this time it was making sure both of them saw it. A man named Joseph had been dealing with strange noises coming from his bathroom for a few days, so he finally decided to set up a camera facing the bathroom door to see if he could catch anything on film. He explained that he'd leave it rolling for a few hours while he relaxed in bed, hoping the noises would happen again. Take a look.
So I've been hearing some strange noises coming from this bathroom. And so I'm going to set up this camera to record and see if we catch anything. I've never caught anything on camera before, so I'm hoping that this might be the first time, but kind of sounds like scratches.
For almost an hour, nothing unusual happens, just the quiet hum of the house and the faint reflection of the hallway lights on the bathroom mirror. But then, without any warning, as the man enters his room after getting a drink, a dark shadow suddenly enters the frame. It appears on the right side of the mirror, shaped unmistakably like a human figure peeking into the bathroom. It pauses for a brief moment, almost as if watching, then quickly pulls back out of view as if it realized it had been caught. Joseph wasn't in the bathroom, nobody else was in the house, and the angle of the camera makes it clear this wasn't a trick of the light. Something had approached that doorway, looked inside, and retreated. Whatever had been making those noises wasn't imaginary at all, and now he finally had proof it was watching him. In the follow-up clip, he explains that people kept asking for an update after the incident, so he decided to film again to show exactly what had been happening. He starts in the bathroom with the camera pointed around the small space, proving there is nothing hiding behind the door or in the shower, before he switches the light off, saying the spirit never seems to like it when the room is bright. He then walks out and sits down on the small couch across from the hallway, the house silent, except for his breathing as he keeps the camera aimed at the doorway where the shadow had appeared the night before. He tries to sound calm, almost joking, and jokingly says peekaboo toward the dark corridor.
All right, guys, so you wanted an update. So here is the shower. That's where the cat goes to the bathroom, so nobody's in there. Nobody's in the bathroom. Nothing's behind the door. All right, we're turning the light off because it doesn't like the light. Here's my fiance.
I don't want to be on camera.
Okay.
I don't think we should be engaging it.
It's fine. It hasn't done anything. It's not really being too, like, creepy or anything. It just does. So, we've been playing peekaboo. Peekaboo!
A second later, something steps fully into view. A tall shadow shaped unmistakably like a person moves into the doorway, perfectly outlined yet completely black, as if absorbing the light around it. He gasps and jerks back in the seat before it disappears when the clip ends. There is no sound of footsteps, no breathing, no retreating movement. Whatever was haunting him had finally shown itself clearly. In the third part of Joseph's saga, he starts the video by admitting he might have messed up by provoking whatever is in his home with the last peekaboo clip. He sounds nervous this time, the camera shaking slightly as he stands in the bedroom. He explains that ever since the shadow stepped into view, things in the bathroom have gotten noticeably worse, and he hasn't been able to sleep properly. Then, right as he's talking, the sounds begin.
Okay, guys. I think I fucked up a little bit. You hear that? What the f is that? Charlie, cat's right here. She doesn't seem to be worried about it.
A slow creaking echoes from inside the bathroom, the unmistakable sound of cabinet doors being tugged or pushed from the inside. Joseph seems very scared, and the noise continues in short bursts, like something is testing them. To prove nothing living could be responsible, he pans the camera down to show his cat sitting curled next to him on the bed, wide awake and staring toward the hallway. Joseph points out that the cat has been with him the entire time, and clearly isn't the one making the noise, and I should add that it's especially since it refuses to go anywhere near the bathroom now. The creaking grows louder for a moment, then stops abruptly, leaving the entire apartment silent again. Joseph knows that he definitely pissed the spirit off, and he's starting to think filming was a mistake. Whatever had revealed itself in the doorway last time now seemed to be actively moving things in the bathroom, and the tension in the air made it clear this haunting was far from over. In the final part of Joseph's saga, he decides he's had enough. The sleepless nights, the shadow figures, the noises from the bathroom, all of it had pushed him to the edge. And this time, he stands directly in the doorway, holding the camera out in front of him. His voice is shaky, but he tries to sound firm as he tells the spirit that it needs to leave, saying they are done with its bull and that it is no longer welcome in his home. He barely finishes the sentence when everything shifts for the worse.
All right. I appreciate all the well wishes. I haven't been getting great sleep lately. I don't know if it's because of this, but I'm going to take your advice. It's been slamming the doors again this morning. I'm just going to tell it to get the f*** out of here. Okay?
All right, this is it. You are not welcome here. You need to leave. We are done with your bullshit. We are not going to take it anymore, okay? You need to get the f*** out. No, this is bullshit.
A deep, guttural growl erupts from inside the dark bathroom, low enough to rattle the doorframe, and before he can even process what he heard, the bathroom door slams shut with terrifying force right in front of him. Joseph jumps back, swearing under his breath, but still forces himself to grab the handle and push the door open again. Inside, the bathroom is completely empty. No movement, no noise, nothing that could have caused the growl or the slam. The tension in his voice is obvious as he steps all the way in, panning around the room to prove there is no one hiding. The air feels heavier than before, and he admits on camera that he and his cat have been avoiding this room altogether. After this final encounter, Joseph says they're both seriously considering moving out. Whatever is in that bathroom made it clear it wasn't going anywhere, and now it wasn't afraid to show its anger. Grace was home alone when she decided to start filming a door in her house after feeling like something was watching her from the hallway. The house was completely quiet. No TV, no music, no open windows, which only made the tension worse. She keeps the camera steady, half joking but clearly nervous, waiting to see if anything happens at all.
Oh my god. What is happening? Can't move it again. Oh shit. Oh shit. Oh my god. Oh dear. Oh dear. Oh my close it, please? Okay.
After a few seconds, the door slowly cracks open on its own before gently pulling itself shut again. Grace gasps and immediately tells whatever it is to do it again, her voice shaking as she backs up slightly. This time, the response is far more unsettling. The door begins to open much wider, nearly 3/4 of the way, inch by inch, as if something unseen is standing on the other side, carefully pushing it open. It pauses for a moment, almost like it's aware of her watching, then slowly closes itself once more. There's no rush of air, no footsteps, no explanation. After the clip ends, Grace said she left the room immediately and didn't go back down that hallway for the rest of the night. She later admitted this was the first time something in her house seemed to directly respond to her voice, and that realization scared her more than the door moving on its own. In this next clip, Leighton and 2 of his friends were just messing around outside, filming casually while throwing a bouncy ball back and forth. It's light-hearted at first, nothing serious at all, until one of them accidentally loses control of the ball and it rolls off out of view. The friend who dropped it jogs over to grab it while Leighton keeps the camera pointed in that direction.
You got the camera ready?
Yeah, dude, I got the camera, right?
I'm gonna knock the ball out of that guy's hand.
Alright, go.
Oh shit! Oh shit!
What? Oh shit, what the hell?
As the kid turns the corner to retrieve the ball, something completely unexpected happens. Out of nowhere, what looks like a human hand suddenly reaches out from around the corner and touches him. It's quick, but clear enough to see, fingers brushing against his arm before instantly pulling back out of sight. The kid jumps in shock and stumbles backward, yelling as Leighton instinctively rushes forward with the camera. He whips around the corner where the hand came from, expecting to see someone hiding there, but there's nothing. No one standing there, no place anyone could have ducked into fast enough. The area is completely empty. The moment was so sudden and so physical that it left all 3 of them panicking, trying to figure out how a hand could appear without a body attached to it. Whatever touched him wasn't visible for more than a split second, but it was real enough to send them all running moments later. In the following video, Tim, a night security guard who's worked at the same building for years, finally decides to start recording after insisting the place has always felt off. He mentions that strange things usually happen during power outages, and unfortunately for him, this night was no exception.
Hello?
As he films one of the mannequins standing motionless in the dark hallway, faint noises suddenly echo behind him. Tim turns around, shining his flashlight just in time to catch something truly unsettling. An uncanny, human-shaped figure is seen in the darkness, its arms stretched out unnaturally, and its face completely swallowed by shadow. The moment Tim calls out hello, trying to make sense of what he's seeing, the figure silently slides backward and disappears into the pitch black. He quickly swings the flashlight toward where it stood, but there's nothing there at all. No doors, no hiding spots, just empty space. As if that wasn't enough, another noise comes from behind him, back near the mannequin he was filming moments earlier. Tim slowly walks back toward it, clearly shaken, and without warning, he punches the mannequin. The blackout, the figure, and the timing make this one of the creepiest encounters he's ever recorded, and it's hard to argue that something wasn't watching him that night. Smith had been completely alone in the house when they first heard something weird, a clear voice calling their name from downstairs. At first they ignored it, telling themselves it was just their imagination, but the feeling wouldn't go away. Eventually, they grabbed their phone and started recording before heading down to see what was going on.
I'm sick of this shit now.
The camera shows them entering the kitchen first, slowly panning around to prove everything looks normal. The lights are on, nothing is broken, nothing out of place. Still uneasy, they walk into the living room and sit down, trying to calm themselves and listen. That's when it happens. A few loud bangs echo through the house, close enough to make them jump. Instinctively, they rush back into the kitchen, filming the entire way. When they step inside, the scene has completely changed. The fridge door is wide open, even though it was clearly closed moments earlier, and one of the kitchen chairs is now sitting up on the counter, balanced in a way that makes no sense. Smith stops dead, breathing heavy, clearly realizing this wasn't just a noise or a trick of the mind. Whatever called their name had followed them downstairs, and it wanted to be noticed. Back in the living room, Smith keeps the camera aimed at a teddy bear, clearly shaken, but determined to document whatever is happening next. The room is quiet again, almost too quiet, and he slowly pans across the furniture, trying to show nothing has changed since the kitchen incident. That's when the camera settles on a teddy bear standing by the TV, dressed in a small Batman outfit, something that had been there for years without ever moving. As he watches, the bear begins to shift on its own, not falling suddenly, but slowly tipping forward, inch by inch, as if an unseen hand is pushing it. Smith gasps and steps back, in disbelief, as the bear leans further and further. The clip cuts just before it hits the floor, but the movement is unmistakable, deliberate, and controlled. After everything that already happened downstairs, this felt like confirmation that whatever was in the house wasn't done yet, and was now moving things right in front of him. The basement is the most likely place in a house to be haunted, and after what happened the night before, Smith was already on edge when things started again the very next day. He starts filming as loud, heavy banging echoes from the basement door, each knock slow and deliberate, like someone was trying to be let in. The camera stays fixed on the door as the banging continues, filling the hallway with a deep, hollow sound. Smith takes a shaky breath and glances away for just a few seconds, clearly debating whether to leave or keep watching. In that brief moment when the camera isn't on it, the basement door suddenly swings open on its own, slowly but completely, revealing the dark stairwell below. There's no rush of air, no one on the other side, just an open doorway leading straight down into darkness. Smith freezes, stunned, then steps closer to show there's nothing behind the door and nothing forcing it open. After the fridge incident, the chair on the counter, and the teddy bear moving on its own, this felt like escalation. Whatever was in the house wasn't just making noise anymore. It was opening doors, almost inviting him to come closer.